You're listening to the Game Beyond podcast with host Gabe Mac. Harness the power of play with serious game design.
Hello there and welcome to the Game Beyond. I am Gabe Mac, and today we're going to be talking about serious game design like we do every week. We're also going to be reviewing some work from students at the Game Beyond, as well as checking out some very cool tools for prototyping and designing your own video game. That's right. So if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button, punch that like button, share with your friends, and especially go check out the courses we have on school.thegamebeyond.com. That's right. We got the master classes that are winding down soon, and new ones that are starting, so check that out. And furthermore, let's go and check out do a little review on some work. I mean, if you haven't already, checked out the site. This is it, thegamebeyond.com. We've got a whole bunch of courses available, and you can earn one of these cool if you finish the master class, you can earn one of these really great serious game design certificate from the Game Beyond. And we have all kinds of things from presentation technique, but we're using a lot of game design and play to be able to get you over that fear of speaking. We also have a course, Game Design with Scratch, which basically lets you program your very first video game without having to know any code whatsoever. That's right. It's if you can build with Lego blocks, you can code a video game. So check that out. Game Design with Scratch takes an afternoon. And the other one, if you're not into that, you just want to maybe write your own interactive story, well, check out the interactive story design with Twine. This is an open source. These are all open source tools, completely free to go in and start making your own games. What are you scratching at there, buddy? Huh? You get a hairball? What's going on? Uh-oh. You're going to puke? Please don't puke. You get a hairball? What's the matter? You okay? He's okay now. Sorry. My dog Buddy was just going nuts there for a second, and I think he was excited, about the courses. He heard about these courses. He's like, hey, how can I get in on that? So make sure to check it out. Right now, you've got an early bird special where they're only $20. Pretty soon, it's going to rise up to $40 because we've actually already hit, over 20 students. So it's going to be going up to 40 soon. So make sure to check out those courses and get yourself in while the deal is hot. All righty. Let's go ahead and do a quick review right here. I wanted to check out this defining a goal of a game by let me zoom this out here. Let me try and read this name. Mafomdanu. Okay, so what is your game's measurable outcome? Well, having more points than your opponents, thus winning the game. Okay, what is your game's duration? 1 to 2 hours. Good. All right, that's something very measurable. What is your game's artificial conflict? Each set of points can be won by one player. All right, let's pause for a second. Having more points is interesting, but where are these points coming from? Why are they achieving the points? What you have to do is figure out what is it you want to measure. Do they get, for instance, you could have points if it's a race, right? How fast or how many check marks does the player get? Each check mark is so many points, along the race, or each checkpoint, I would say. If you just have simple points thrown at it, where did the points come from? And how can I measure that action of where those points came from? Okay, so it's not just the points. You need to think about what is that action that I can measure. Okay, that's what we're looking in for a game's measurable outcome of the game goal. The other two are, you can pretty much extrapolate from there. A game's duration, 1 to 2 hours, that's fine. What is the game's artificial conflict? Now here again, you got to think a little bit beyond just the points, okay? Each set of points can be won by one player. Now that's interesting. It's starting to get there, right? But what is it that will... Let's put it this way. What would make that getting the points more of a challenge for the other player? Or what is that dual conflict that's happening? For instance, is it man versus machine, right? The player has to get it before the robot does. Is it man versus man, right? There's only a certain set of territory and they have to battle it out, right? That's a good place to start, and then you can develop on that further as you go on. Let's look at what they have for the feedback loop. So, what is the cue of your habit? Players turn up. Okay. So, I guess we have an appointment mechanic we're working with here. What is the routine of your habit? Rolling the dice. Okay. What is the reward of your habit? Potential buffs which help players win battles. Now you've lost me. Okay. So, what is the cue of your habit? Think of what is the action, the set of actions that you want the player to take in order to accomplish the game's goal. Now, if it's a dice rolling game, then what is the cue of the dice rolling game? What is, the point system of that, and where is that going? Now, we're talking more about a behavioral cue here because we're dealing more with what's called serious game design than just regular game design. But even if we just took it to a base game design level, right? Explain how the turn works for me, okay? So, for instance, a player rolls a set of dice. What is the routine of the habit? I want to know what the positive and negative outcome for that is. For instance, does the player, like in craps, if they roll a 7 or if they roll, 11, right? Do they lose their roll? Okay. Do they have to roll an even number of points with the dice? Or is it more like Yahtzee, where they're trying to create a combination of different numbers? These are the different things that you're going to want to describe for the positive feedback loop that the player can keep on playing and collecting the dice, or the negative, yeah? And that comes then in the reward. So what is the reward of your habit? Well, if you roll, for instance, 6s, right? Even number, you get 3 points. Say half the points you roll. If you rolled a 3, however, you lose your turn and it goes to the other player. So you have a positive and a negative on the outcome of that feedback loop or that turn. Okay, it's a much easier way to think of it maybe. But yeah, try to expand a little bit more on that, and I hope that helps you out. Okay then, let's get on to something interesting here. I want to talk about this website that I'm flipping back and forth here. It's called itch.io, ITCH.io. Now this is an excellent resource for game designers. Number one, it is a marketplace for independent game designers to easily publish their own games to play. Now, this is key if you're just starting out. if you just got a little, scratch game, or, the Twine game, for instance, those Twine games, I can actually look and find games on here that were made with Twine. Yeah, you see, these are all, what did we come in here? We got, gosh, I don't even know how many games there are here. It's just page upon scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So you see, we have quite a few games here on itch.io. These are from all independent makers, and they're able to publish and check out and try out their games on itch.io. So for those who are starting out, this is the site you want to be on. Okay? Not only can you publish some of those games that you've made in the Game Beyond course, and you can get feedback and test it out, you can also see what... Oh my goodness, shut up. Which phone is buzzing here? I got too many phones buzzing. Sorry about that. You can also go and check out all these different games from other creators as well. And the wonderful thing about itch.io is that you see a lot of very early games, kind of like in the very early days, and then later on, after it's been developed a bit more and people get a lot more feedback, the developers get more feedback from the itch.io community, then you start to see these same games wind up on the Xbox, or they wind up on Steam or PlayStation. Yes, all kinds of things, from Tab's Totally Awesome Battle Simulator to Who's Your Daddy, running around trying to take care of your kids, right? Multiplayer game. Raft. All of these games. The other really big one, which is super hot. People are crazy about that game too. All of these games I first played here on itch.io, and you can go up here to browse, and you can browse all of these different games, and you can check what platform. So maybe you're on a Windows platform, maybe you're on a Mac OS platform, maybe you're on Linux, maybe you're on Android or iOS, or maybe you have a web game. All of that is able to publish right here. So it is a fantastic way for game designers that are starting out, and especially independents, to get these early ideas out there. These are not all completed games. What you're seeing here is a lot of prototypes too, but those prototype games, there's something in there. There's an interesting mechanic that can be explored further to really flesh out for your larger game. And it's finding those interesting mechanics just by going and playing, a bunch of these games yourself, which most of them are free, to be honest. Hey, if you look here, here's all these games are all free, right? Free. And there is stuff that you can pay. There's like $5 or less games, for like $2, $3. Great. Let's, if there's a fun game, from some little designer you like, give them a couple bucks, go ahead. They can have, instead of an empty glass, they can have maybe a half filled glass, right? So yeah, this is really a fantastic resource for checking out new games, trying out different games, seeing what kind of interesting mechanics have been thought about, and thinking about, how could I adapt that to something that I'm working on? Or what is interesting about that twist that they did, and how could I learn from that? The other fantastic thing, it's not stopping here, folks. The other fantastic thing I want to talk about is not only can you browse top games, but check this out. They also have game assets, right? Let's say you want to do a quick prototype and you don't have a game artist around you. Well, you can just click on this Mystic Woods 16 by 16 pixel art, and you can basically license this whole thing of all these little graphics of these pixelated characters running around in almost a Legend of Zelda way. Or, if you don't like pixel art, maybe you get a 2D asset pack, Maybe you want to get more of a fantasy design. Here we have a fantasy knight. It just goes on and on and on. Most of them are going to be your low res 2D pixel kind of stuff, but sometimes you also find, full 3D render outs and stuff like that, which is also a great resource. Now, resources is one thing, game assets, great, but check this out. We've also got tools. Yes, tools. Look at these fantastic tools that you have available to you. Most of them are free, and these are great for game designers starting out. So let's say maybe you're looking for some kind of generator, like you're trying to do some kind of map. Well, here we have a one-page dungeon generator, right? This is, you're making a role-playing game or something, and you want to quickly generate, a map. Well, this app can easily do that for you, so you don't have to sit there and draw all of that. Or maybe you want something more of a little village generator where you can, put in some different little bits of information, and you can generate all these different village maps that you can use in different campaigns and different video games, what have you, for your Twine story or your Scratch story. They also have 28-bit character generation. Say you want to make a little 28-bit character. Well, you could just, slide and drag these different things to make his hair and eyes and color and everything go kind of nuts. There, that looks kind of like a goblin, don't you think? Yeah, that looks like a goblin. Let's see if we can make him an elf. That's more of a ghoul. Let's give a bigger torso. Yeah, bigger torso. And ears here. Now it looks, instead of hair, it looks like we have horns. We'll get the horns and we're going to turn it to, what do we got here? This looks like a walking robot now. I don't know. What do you think? Anyways, the 2-bit character generator, great fun. You can also just do randomize on it. This is just one of hundreds of tools that are available to you here on Itch.io. Let's check out these magic tools. These are pretty cool. For instance, free game sound effects tool. You want to do those little beeps and boops and bups, right? Here's a great tool just for that. You can just all right, let's do it. I'm terrible at doing the music, by the way. The sound effects thing is something that I'm not the best at, but you can play around and why not, right? Here here we go, 1-up. Oh yeah, that's definitely a 1-up. Very cool. And can we well, anyways, so you see there's all kinds of crazy great tools that you could really get into here. Let's look at another one. A texture grid generator. That's a handy one as well. So many times you just need a quick texture, for some game, because what we typically do is we do what's called a white box, right? Where it's basically a white box and you have these, kind of gray pillars and stuff moving around, just to see if the game is interesting. And then once you start to load it in, you want, to kind of change up the textures a bit. Well, here we go. We have a little texture drawing tool that can create, looks like, is it the same type? Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Advanced presets, a valve. Oh, okay. Anyways, a simple test. Oh, it's a test grid generator. I thought it was a texture generator, but they've got that too. There are texture generators as well. Let's go back here to tools. And let's see. Here's a pixel compressor, a node-based VA visual effects compositor for pixel art. Oh man, that is too cool, right? Here we have a 8D character creator. Whoa, look at this. This is pretty advanced looking that you can create. It looks pretty well animated, kind of manga style type characters can be created with this tool. Granted, it's $100, but if you can't afford a game artist, right? Let's see, what else do we have here? A leaderboard creator. This is great for teachers. Yeah, you want to create a leaderboard for the classroom? There you go. We have Armor Paint. I guess this is, Armor Paint 3D allows you to create texture painting for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. Pretty cool. Lighter, what is this? Simple normal map generation. All right. Here we have Armory 3D, a 3D game engine for Blender. Well, that's pretty handy. So Blender is another game design platform, much like Unreal or Unity. And Blender is one of these 3D apps that you can use in creating the different objects that then go into Unity and so forth to create your characters or your 3D personas for your video game. Yeah. So cool. Oh, here we go. A quick and easy drag and drop tool called GB Studio, which will allow you to create your own Game Boy type video games. Look at that. GB Studio. How fantastic is that? And you know how much it is? It's free. That's right. You can design your own Game Boy video games. Remember those? Be totally retro cool. Another excellent tool here on itch.io. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wow, that's pretty great. That's pretty cool, but you can't be doing more. You can't have more. Oh, yes. There's more to itch.io still, because what we also have on itch.io are game jams. That's right, game jams. So game jams, if you're not aware, maybe you've heard of something called a hackathon. Maybe you've heard of something called, a party weekend, right? Or work weekend party, right? Basically, a game jam is when a bunch of people get together and in a very short and limited time, they build a video game around a certain subject matter or a certain mechanic or an idea, what have you. And it's a contest. It's almost like a race. On the one hand, who can build the great game. On the other hand, you've only got a short amount of time to do it, right? So you got to do it quick. And here you can see all of the different game jams that they have planned. So for instance, there's the Barcelona Video Games Inside. That's starting on the 24th of April. We have here the Cozy Spring Jam 2023. 645 people have joined that one. And you can see how many people have joined these different game jams, right? So there is, for instance, Ioso o Professor Lucas's game jam, where 41 people have joined. Simple shooting game, right? That's the idea of the game jam. 34 people have joined. So if you're looking for something like, I'm looking to do some kind of game jam. I'd like to get maybe with a friend and we can try and do it. Well, here's an ASCII Game Jam 2023. So this is basically create a game without any graphics using only text, right? Text. And it shows you how long the submissions are open. You can join the jam. You can see different examples. You can see who's in the community of who's going on. And this is a great way for first game designers, starting game designers, and even more advanced game designers to really get in and join with a crew, make something cool. Yeah. I mean, how awesome is that? Here we go. Let's look at something that's got a whole bunch of people that's joined up. So here we go. Bullet Hell Jam 2023. Bullet Hell Jam 2023. This is the 4th annual Bullet Hell Jam. Spend 10 days cramming as many bullets as you can into a short game and get a ton of great feedback at the end. Oh, and did we mention there's a little prize? So, the inspiration is basically get as many bullets in the game as you can. So the winning game will get $25. All right, for the duration of the jam. Wayfarer Games is making a Unity asset Bullet Fury free to use. It's usually $25, but you don't have to use it. So basically, this is a way they can get a free demo. But there's a bunch of people that are using it to, let's try out some of these games, right? Now, if you want to check out some of the games, you check here in the community. You can hear all about it, and you can also check out what games they have once it's finished. Right? Because you got to wait till the submissions are done. So once a game is finished, you can go back to the jams that have been featured. Oh wait, here we go. Top past jams. That's what I want. So you check here, top past jams. Here we go. For instance, the Game Maker Toolkit 2022, and here you can go and you can see all the different submissions. Yeah, so these are all the games that were submitted to this game jam, and you can see there is quite a few. There are literally 6,099 different video games that were put in on this one game jam. That's a lot of games to go through and play, so don't tell me you got nothing to do. Because you know what you got to do. You got to go and you got to check out Itch.io. That's right. Okay, well, folks, I think that is where I'm probably going to stop it for the day. I think that's a good amount of time. I really appreciate you hanging out here with me on the GameBeyond.com podcast. I hope that you've enjoyed checking out some of these tools, and I hope that this becomes a really great resource for you as a game designer or your friends if they're into game design, either way. And until next time, make sure to get out there, have some fun, and play on.
Become a serious game designer. Go to thegamebeyond.com and learn how to harness the power of play.